All right. What's up? What's up? Elite Performance Podcast with Dr. Brad. And today we're talking about it's time to make a critical decision. And that decision can be in your health, your wealth, your relationships, your business, whatever the case may be. It may be some big life transition. Either way, one of the questions that we wrestle with sometimes is it God's will or not? Like, am I operating in God's will? For those of you who are watching live, make sure you share this information because today I'm going to be hitting you in the head again. All right. Make sure you share this information with another person that you believe could benefit from this. Sometimes I like to call this thought fitness. This is thought fitness time for you. We're about to get some thought fitness in. Challenge your way of thinking. And so yeah, let's break this thing down. So recently I had a conversation with a friend, and that's what brought up this idea of, is this God's will for me? Good friend of mine, he and I were grabbing lunch, and, he's at a place where he's just like, you know what, man, I've tried to do so many things on my own. Some of them successful, a lot of them not nearly as successful as I wanted them to be, or as in the case of myself and many of us who are listening or watching, you become successful, but it comes at too great of a cost. Your success has come at the cost of your family, your faith, your fitness, and it's just coming at too great of a cost. So he's like, look, I just want to make sure that whatever next step I take, particularly we were talking about business, that this step is God's will for me. He was just like, I just don't want to do anything outside of that, which is a very valid concern. Okay. And so that's the challenge, is when making critical decisions. And for many of us, those decisions are happening right now. Like, what next step do I take in my business? Do I partner with this person? What do I need to do in my career? Do I stay or do I go? Relationships, same thing. What do I do? For some of us, it might be our health. Like, what do I need to do? I need to do something right now, but I need to make sure that this critical decision that I'm making is in alignment with God's will. Because oftentimes we don't want to make a mistake, right? For some of us, we thinking, man, I don't want to piss God off. Okay. And so one of the things I'm going to challenge you on today, which I had to challenge myself, by the way, anytime I'm giving you a message, is something that I had to think over and I've been able to come up with what I think is a biblically based solution for a certain challenge or problem that I have. And so I had to challenge my way of thinking with this. And the question is, am I asking myself the wrong question? So what do I mean by that? Am I asking myself the wrong question? Well, here's what I know, and here's what you have to understand, is that your thoughts, the thoughts that you have, are going to be influenced by something, someone, some environment. Your thoughts are going to be consistent with your underlying identity, and that identity will be influenced by something, someone, or some environment. Okay. So if I'm having certain thoughts, then the question isn't necessarily, is this within God's will? The question is, where am I getting these thoughts from? What are these thoughts being influenced by? So see, if we are connected to God and we have a deep-seated relationship with God, well, then our thoughts will therefore be influenced by God. And then here's what's crazy but awesome. Our thoughts will reflect his thoughts. So the question isn't so much, I've got this big hope, I've got this big dream, or I'm not sure what step, to take next, or I think I'm supposed to go in this direction, but I'm not sure, I don't want to make a mistake. Is this God's will? The question is really, am I connected to God am I operating from a point of God in me? Because you see, if I'm operating from a point of God in me, God influencing me, well, then therefore, I know it's hard to believe, but therefore my thoughts shall be like God. My thoughts shall be on higher things. Here's what's crazy. It's hard for us to believe that our thoughts can be that much in alignment with Him, but it only makes sense. See, if we're operating from a place, from a spiritual place, connected with God, like it's very difficult to think that these thoughts that we have in our head that come out, it's like of God. So again, the question is not, is this part of God's will? The questions are, how connected are you to God? Right. So a great analogy to kind of really put this into perspective, it would be like being the team captain of a team and you running a play. And as you're about to run the play, and then you say, hold up, like, is this the play we're supposed to be running? Is this the play we're supposed to be running? And the real question is gonna be like, I don't know. Did you talk to coach? Did you consult with the coach? And even better yet, are you and the coach, are you and the offensive coordinator, if we're talking football, are you and the offensive coordinator so connected that you know that this next play we're about to run based on the defense that I see is the right play? That's a real question. See, we're questioning whether we're making the right decision, but the thing is, the confidence will come from the connection that we have. The confidence will come from the connection that we have with God. And here's what's crazy. We almost won't even need to ask the question when we connected to God, because we'll be operating in such connection with Him that, check this out. You remember watching Peyton Manning on the football field operate? He almost didn't need the offensive coordinator because he was in such direct connection with the coaching that he was able to call plays and see stuff that the offensive coordinator could see from a completely different perspective. So again, the question isn't, hey man, am I operating God's will? The question is, how connected are you to be able to make a confident decision and know, oh no, like I'm straight. Like I know this is where I'm supposed to go. See, here's, we talk about scripture. And it's Proverbs 16:3, and it says, commit your ways to your ways to the Lord. Trust in the Lord is what another version of scripture says. Trust, commit, and He will establish your plans, your next play, your thought. See, it's hard for us to grasp the fact that we will literally be led, like our thoughts will be led consistent with God if we are connected to God. But again, if you take the example of being a floor general, you look at the Magic Johnsons, the former Jason Kidds, the point guards of a team who knew the offense so well because they were so connected with the coaching, they were able to call plays with confidence, knowing, no, I know this is what I have to do. But again, that confidence was rooted in connection. I mean, it's probably times where they couldn't even explain, I need to call this play. They probably wouldn't be able to explain. They'd just be able to read the defense and just know what's happening. Peyton Manning sometimes doing all kind of crazy stuff at the line, seeing all kind of stuff, could see the exact same thing offensive coordinator can see from a completely different perspective and be able to call the play with confidence. Because let me tell you something. If you're going to make a big decision in your life, in your business, in your career, in your health, your wealth, your relationships, you better be confident. But where's that confidence going to be rooted? Is it going to be rooted in the connection that you have? See, I want you to be able to make a decision so confident that you don't even have to ask the question, is this God's will for me? Is this the play is this the play that's supposed to be called? Did you talk to the coach? How close are you with the coach? And listen, have you ever had a thought that's literally popped into your mind? I call it like just downloaded in your mind. Like the thought is so good and rich. You thinking like, I don't know how this came to my head. Like me and my own thing, I couldn't have thought that. See, when you start getting thoughts like that, like, man, this thought is so good, or this solution to this problem, or this answer to this question is so good. It ain't no way I came up with this myself, and it just kind of comes spontaneously. See, that's connection, right? That's knowing the offense so well, right? But the other challenge we have is not only asking the question, but we hesitate sometimes when we get what we believe is that next step. It's like, you know what, is this God's will for me? We question it because it stretches us. We question it because it stretches us. Here's what you got to understand. God's ideas will challenge your good ideas. See, because your way of thinking has been only getting you so far. God's way of thinking is infinite, right? You got infinite possibilities. So when you start connecting to God and you start getting some of those God ideas, it's going to challenge those good ideas you've been having, because it's like, man, it's hard to even conceive this. It's hard to even conceive this idea that just dropped and downloaded in my head. Be like, oh my goodness. And so the tough part is that, it's scary. The thoughts, God's thoughts are scary because he thinks bigger than us, and he thinks bigger for us because he knows the potential we have. Even though we may not be able to tap into understanding that potential at the time or at the moment. But it is our responsibility to be able to see ourselves as God sees us, so that we can receive the play and be like, yo, I got it. Yeah, I can throw that alley. Yeah, I can throw the deep route. I know I can. See, that'd be the equivalent of the coach saying, you know what, I need you to throw a deep route, and you saying, I don't know if I can make that play, coach. But coach say, what you talking about? Like, I know you can make the play because I'm the one who put you in this position. I'm the one who put you in this position. I wouldn't have put you in this position if I didn't think you can make the play. So part of it is our responsibility to know he put us in position. We can have confidence in that again as we start to have the connection. So sometimes these, the God ideas will challenge our good ideas, and then we start drawing back and thinking, well, maybe it's too big. Maybe I'm just being selfish. Right? But I'm gonna go back to you. How connected are you to God? Right? Because if you're connected, you'll start to be able to receive it and say, no, I'm not gonna pedal back. I'm not gonna say, I don't know if I can make this play. I'm just gonna trust. I'm gonna trust that the play is gonna work. Okay. The other thing that makes us kind of draw back from these God ideas versus our good ideas is that we try to figure out how it's gonna happen. Trying to figure out how we're going to get from point A to point B. We try to, but if we were that good, then we would be the ultimate God. Now we have God in us, so we're little g God, right? He says he's the King of Kings, so we are King. He says he's the Lord of Lords, so we are Lord, right? Not the Lord, but we are Lord, right? Little L, little g. And so sometimes we draw back to our old way of thinking because it just challenges us so much. But here's what you have to understand is that as you are connected to God, you have to understand God's standard is greatness. His standard is greatness. So it's unlikely that these ideas that you get that are big and that are challenges your way of thinking are going to be something like small. It's going to be something that's going to challenge you because his standard is greatness. His son was Jesus, who was perfect. He says, that is the standard. I designed you for the standard. I put you in position for the standard of excellence and greatness. because I am great and I made you in my image and likeness. Therefore, you are great. So his standard is greatness. He's going to give us things that will challenge us because he thinks bigger for us, bigger than us. See, up until recently, and I would say probably within the last couple of weeks, I would ask myself this similar question, right? Like, man, like, is what I'm doing in alignment with God's will? Like, is this God's will for me? I used to ask myself the same question. And I started to come to a conclusion is that if I'm really connected to God, again, asking myself that question, are you really connected? Because I know one of the things that I know is that my thoughts are going to be influenced by something. And so I said, well, how connected am I really to God? Because if I'm really trusting the connection that I have and that I've really received who he says I am, well, then I can trust that these plays that I'm getting are the right plays and are in alignment with God because my thoughts are now his thoughts. See, the God that is in me can start to be revealed and expressed, and I can have confidence that, yes, this is the direction that we're going. And I know it's right because of my connection, which gives me confidence. And so the way I can confirm this is because, let me tell you, man, there have been so many answers to questions that I had. Do I need to go this direction? I get a thought, stuff downloaded in my head that there is no way I could have thought on my own. No way. And that gave me confirmation and confidence, knowing that I've been rocking with God lately. And the connection is strong. And I can say, you know what? I need to ask myself the question just to self-check that I'm connected. But at the end of the day, the answer is yes. Yes, indeed. This is in alignment with God's will because my thoughts have become his thoughts. I want you to imagine. Seriously, I want you to imagine right now to be able to have the level of confidence to be able to step into a decision saying, I know this is the right decision. And that even if after that decision, it may seem like things get more challenging, you can say, I've done the same thing over again. And that all that's happening is that this current story is building his glory. Imagine having that level of confidence and getting downloaded the established plans, right? Because the plans don't get established without the commitment to him. The plans don't get established without the trust. So again, question, not is this part of God's will? Is this God's will for me? But am I connected? Right? So as always, you know, I can't leave you without giving some things to equip you. Okay? So the question is how to build confidence that your decisions are in God's will. I'm going to teach you 4 things, 4 steps, if you will, so that you can have confidence that your decisions are in God's will. All right. First one is you got to read the word. Simple concept. You got to read the word. And the reason you got to read the word is because you need the information. All right. So each one of these is going to be the thing that you have to do is an R, and what you get from it is an I. So you got to read the word. First thing, you got to read it. You got to read the playbook. You got to know what you got to have the information. See, if I don't know the plays, I don't care how good I am. Right? I mean, I can have a good relationship with the coach, but at the end of the day, he's like, bro, we got a playbook here. And you'll know what play to call based on the playbook. You'll know what play to call based on the playbook. But if you don't know the playbook, all bets are off. So you got to read the word. You got to read the playbook. Next thing you got to do is you got to receive the word because you need identity. See, there's a difference between reading the word. You read it, you got information, that's great. But the question is, have you really received for yourself what those words say? See, many of us, we may have read it, we may read it, but the question is, have you opened your heart enough to receive the word as truth? Not just for the people that the book is written about or for somebody else, but have you received it for you? Have you received the fact that God is in you? Because here's the deal. If you receive that message, the entire game changes. Because you focus on that part of you. You build that part of you up. You give more attention to the God in you, and the God shall be expressed from you. So that's the real question is, yeah, you may have read it. If you hadn't read it, great, read it. But you got to receive it. It's a look, life is more about, I'm going to do another podcast on this. Life is not so much about achievement, so much it is about receivement. Many of us just haven't received everything that he's called for us. Once we receive it in our heart, things change. So you need identity. That creates identity. When you receive him in you, well, now you got identity. Child of God. See, I've got a son. My son takes on traits and characteristics of me. I've got children. They take on traits and characteristics of me. Here's what's crazy. You're a son, a daughter of God. That means by definition, you now have traits and characteristics of him. Are you going to be able to express? Are you going to express that? You will if you connect it to the identity, the truth of the identity. Third thing you got to do is you got to repeat the word. So you read the word, receive the word. Now you repeat the word. Why? Because you need it to be impressed upon the heart. It's got to be impressed, tattooed, branded, impressed. And you do that with repetition. Here, see, faith comes by hearing and hearing the word over and over and over again. So you got to repeat it every day. Last thing you got to do is you got to rest in the word. Rest. And the reason why is you need the intuition. Let me tell you something. When you start getting next steps and your plans are ordered and established, see, it took me a second to realize that that's what's been happening lately in my life. I'm like, yo, I'm getting so many things just downloaded. This has to happen. This has to happen. This connection is working and this is going. Stuff I'm not even like I'm not necessarily thinking about, but it'll just, if I give it enough time, if I rest in a thought or something I might have a challenge in, you know, I'm getting what people call intuition. It ain't intuition. It's influenced by the connection. So when you rest in the word, rest in God, you can now get the intuition, which are the thoughts that are like him, that are going to lead to the decisions that are consistent with his will for you. And understand this. His will is also connected to your desires. He wants you to win. He wants you to win. His will is connected to your desires, right? So listen, those 4 things: read the word, receive it, repeat it, and then rest in it. All right. As always, if you have yet to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, Elite Performance with Dr. Brad. Again, performance coach for men. This is for men and women, the message. However, I personally coach men, high achieving men, to help them win in the areas of their fitness, family, and faith without sacrificing their current career or business success. Make sure you share this with someone or multiple people to bless them as well. You guys have a fantastic evening. I'm out.